I think we'll just look at some
Yeah,
areas of because when you're talking about risk, basically you're looking at life cover, disability, and
yeah,
income replacer. Those are types
exactly.
of
Yeah,
risk that we are looking at. But to come back
yeah,
to what you said initially, that especially black people, we don't look at life cover as it is because people look at it as like a ripoff. I think insurance has historically been viewed as a garage purchase. I think it's not just here globally, it's how we look at
yeah,
it. So I think these talks that we are going to have are going to
yeah,
look at that, to look at
mm,
the benefits of this life insurance. Yes.
yeah. No, that's good. Actually, you have kickstarted very well. Now,
Yes.
maybe let's look at that. I mean, maybe just to understand it, in a layman's language,
Okay.
maybe, yeah. But what is it? What is risk? I mean, before we can even perhaps zoom in to look at different types, like you have already alluded to. But what is risk? I mean, can you maybe just simplify it? Because many people, for instance, sometimes they, besides the fact that it's a garage purchase, but even understanding
Mhm.
it,
Yeah.
do you need it? What is it? Yeah, you understand? Yeah. What would you
Yeah.
describe? How would you describe it?
You,
Yeah.
you, you know, for me to answer that question,
Mm.
each and every one of us is trying to build wealth. And
Yeah.
while we are trying to build wealth, there is this uncertainty that normally comes in the case of death, in the case of disability. Because while you are trying to build wealth, this is something that you cannot plan for. So that's the risk that's actually out there for each and everyone. We don't know exactly when you are going to die. You don't know when you are going to have stroke. You don't know when you can be retrenched. That's the type of risk that we are looking at. And the insurance industry has actually come up with a solution that can actually address that particular area, that can actually stop you from getting all the financial wealth that you are trying to build.
Yeah. Okay. No, you have,
Yes.
you have you have simplified it actually. Yeah. I didn't
Mhm.
think of making it as easy as that. Yeah. And
Yeah. Okay.
now,
Yes.
yeah. So now tell me now. Um, Someone may argue, for instance, and
Yes.
say, look, I'm young, I'm not going to die. You understand? So yeah,
Yes.
you know, and I've just started working. Maybe I qualified as a medical doctor, or I'm an engineer, or I'm an accountant. I'm in my office. I'm young. I've just started working. I'm investing my money. And why must I take a life cover, for instance? Because maybe that's what we want to talk about today. Yeah. Why must I take a life
Yeah.
cover?
Yeah. Yeah. That's where we start. Because I'm going to look at just 7 things that are very
Yeah.
crucial for you to have this life cover. Because
Yeah.
as you can see, you are buying something with a lot of uncertainty in terms of you don't know exactly when is this life cover going to benefit you. Hence, you
Yeah.
find people looking at this as a type of fetish that it's very difficult for you. But let's unpack those 7 areas that I really like to look at when you look at risk or life cover, disability, and that. Number one, it's your financial security for your dependents.
Okay.
With life cover ensures that your dependents, when I talk about dependents, I'm talking about your loved ones, your spouse, I'm
Yeah.
looking at your children, everybody. So in that instance, they can receive either a lump sum or they
Mm.
can receive a regular payment after your death. So that's
Yeah.
one area whereby we are
Yeah.
saying with life cover, you have that financial security for your dependents. There's no other product that can be able to cover that type of security. So remember, when we started, we spoke about building wealth. You are here as a doctor, you're trying to build wealth, and for some reason you pass away, and those securities, those financial securities for your dependents are not there. So if you have life cover, that will be covered by that. The second one is covering your debts. This is normally when people take life cover, they actually look at this, because when you're looking at debts, you're looking at your mortgage, you're looking at your credit cards, you're looking at your car loans, personal loans, and all those. The easiest way for you to cover those debts is through life cover. So if you calculate all the life cover that all the debts that you have, and buy a life cover that can cover all those debts in the event of your death, that will help you a great deal. The third one is income replacer, especially for those that are self-employed, lawyers, doctors. In the event of death, that income that you have, it's going to go away. So it's better for you to have an insurance where it's going to build an income protection for the type of income that you are earning. So, for example, my income is 50,000 rands a month, and then I can buy an income protector for 50,000. In the event of me getting disabled or something happens to me that I cannot continue performing my duties, then that is going to come in. And then the fourth one, funeral and final expenses. For us as Black people, we know how expensive that can be. So in your life, you can actually incorporate your funeral cover and the final expenses. So that can be taken care of that. But the fifth one, this one for me, it's the most important one, a peace of mind. Once you have life cover, you're knowing that your loved ones will be financially protected, and you will be creating wealth for them. Basically, moving wealth from where you are to your next generation. And the last one, in fact, the sixth one before the last one, it's your estate planning. Remember, when you are looking at your estate, when you, in the event of death and you still have your property still owing, that can be taken away in the event where we are looking at your estate, whereby your house is going to be given away and those type of things. So this is going to be very important for you to have sufficient cover to pay all those estate duty taxes, and because it can provide liquidity to pay for estate taxes to ensure that your heirs receive their inheritance, in actual fact, without selling any of your assets. That's very, very important. And lastly, the seventh one, life cover can actually supplement your retirement. So this is something that we need to look at. So those were seven things that I looked at to say these are the most important things when you look at life cover. And I think maybe you can come up with any other ones that you think maybe, or any questions around those ones, and then we can have a look at them.
No, I think you have covered them very, very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It shows that you really understand the industry. And then
Yeah.
now, if for instance, I mean, I was looking at the stats.
Yeah.
The recent stats shows that actually 1 in 10 people have a life cover.
Okay.
Why? What? 1 in 10 is scary. I mean, So why do you think people take such a risk, of not covering the risk, like not having a life cover at least?
When you started,
What?
you spoke about garage purchase. I think maybe that's
Yeah,
because
yeah,
with life cover you don't see immediate benefits.
right.
So all you're doing, you're just paying premiums on a monthly basis, and the event that's going to trigger the payment of that life cover, there is uncertainty around that to say when is it going to happen. So I
Yeah,
might pay life cover for 20 years, nothing happens. Am I paid for
Yeah.
2 months? And yeah, so I think maybe that's the one thing that makes people not to buy life cover, not understanding that the benefits actually outweighs the premiums that they are paying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
it's amazing because if you have a life cover, I'm sure, I mean, after some couple of years, it becomes an
Okay.
asset. It becomes an
It
asset. I
does.
mean, you can always go out there if needed to start a business, or you can always seed it. For a certain amount of money, start your business, pay off whatever you owe, and your life cover is yours. It is an asset.
It's
Am I
it,
correct?
it, it,
Yeah,
it it's an asset. Remember, even when you go and are to ask for finance, those are some of the things that we look at to say that if I borrow you, let's say 10 million rands, and you are in the event of death, how am I going to get my money back as a bank? So
yeah,
if you can produce life cover, let's say I've got life cover for 20 million, then the bank is happy to say that the life cover that you took is going to protect them in the event of your death.
yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, and do you think maybe also economic factors come in there? Because I take it that in a good economy, for instance, where people are happy, they're earning well. I mean, it's very easy for people to have an extra money. I mean, to buy things that
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
you know
It's,
you wouldn't necessarily, yeah,
it,
you wouldn't necessarily
yeah.
buy, things like that. Yeah, yeah.
It's a
It
very
does look like
interesting point.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, it's a very
And
interesting point because obviously, when you have disposable income, then you'll be able to buy life cover. I think, yeah, that actually
yeah,
ties to what you are saying.
yeah, yeah. And tell me,
Mm.
um, who must actually have a life cover in your view? I mean, you have a young person, you still have a mother and a father. He's just graduated from university. Must that person start worrying about the life cover? I mean, his
Martin,
mother and his father. Yeah, yeah,
the biggest thing with life cover is that for you to get life cover, the premium gets calculated based on certain factors, and one of them is your age. The more you
yeah.
grow, the more
Oh,
you become older, the higher the risk and the higher the premium is going to be. So for that, is that for you to start life cover at an early age, you're going to pay a lesser premium, and those benefits, you're still going to get all those 7 benefits that we spoke about. So my advice is, as soon as you start working, you need to have life cover.
okay. And besides, I mean, you're going to
Yeah.
buy that beautiful 320 BMW, which can actually take you over the bridge and send you
Anytime.
straight
Yeah.
and send you
Yeah.
straight to the hospital. Yeah,
I'm,
yeah,
I'm telling you, I think I had a friend of mine a couple of years ago. He, after graduating, and he went to work for one of best financial institutions. And at a very early age, he was involved in an accident, and thereafter he couldn't. In fact, he was barred from driving because of the illnesses that he had, the injuries that he sustained. So you can just imagine if he had a disability cover at that point, it could have taken care of his life for the rest of his life. So yeah, that's
mm,
very, very important to prioritize between the BMW that you are talking about and the life cover. Yes.
yeah. It's interesting. When I was working in the hospital, there was a young doctor who bought himself a 325, and exactly that happened. And he broke his femur, the thigh bone, and he didn't even have a medical aid. He didn't have a life. He had nothing. But the car itself was insured, and and he was lying in the ward in a ward in the same hospital where he's working, government hospital,
So
because
it
that's
was
where we were working. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. He could have gone
yeah,
to a private hospital. Yeah,
yeah.
okay,
He was in
okay.
a
Yeah,
government. He
that's
could
very
not
true.
afford that. Yeah. Well, of course, there's nothing wrong with that. He's a doctor, so of course we looked well after him. But the fact that
Mm.
you work in a hospital, the car is insured, and he is not
You are not
insured.
insured. Yeah, yeah.
I just laughed at this, and I said to him, but my friend, you're not serious. How could you do this? And he only realized when I actually told him that this thing is very serious. He shouldn't have done it. But after that, and he had a medical aid. He took. I actually signed him. I was still at Momentum those days with
Yeah.
you. Yeah, you remember. Yeah, so
Okay.
I
Yeah.
signed him a life cover. I gave him medical aid and everything. And yeah, I think he learned some lessons from that time. And
Yeah.
then
No,
now here's the other thing. One may ask, for instance, how do you then know how much how much you need in your life? How do you arrive at a
calculating the
calculated
amount
value? Yeah, yeah,
of the life cover that you need.
yeah,
That's a very interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a very, very interesting question because
yeah,
I actually looked at that to say maybe it's a topic on its own, but it's very
yeah,
interesting because
yeah,
what you need to look at because there are tons and tons of calculators out there that can
yeah,
actually help you calculate the amount of life cover or the amount of cover that you require. But
yeah,
the easiest way, a step-by-step guide for you to determine the appropriate amount that you need. Firstly, you need to look at the current outstanding debts. So we list the current outstanding debts, the future debts, those are future debts that might come in, the living expenses, your current living expenses. We calculate all of that. We need to consider the income replacement. We need to calculate the replacement income gap. I just want to switch this one. Sorry about that, Doctor. Yeah.
no
And then the
problem.
other thing that we need to look at in calculating those amounts is we need to factor in the inflation because all these debts, all these expenses actually have an inflation attached to them. And then
Uh-huh.
the other expenses, that will be your final expenses, that will be in the event of death, in the event, and
Yeah,
then we need to cover the long-term goals. Those can actually be incorporated in our calculation of how much the life cover you are going to look at. And then
yeah,
over and again, we need to look at the existing life cover that you have and then incorporate that. So once you've got all those, you can actually contact a registered financial planner. He will then do those calculations, add them together, and from there, you will be able to come with the amount of cover that will give you a peace of mind.
I see. I see.
Yes.
Well, is it safe to say that someone needs to do a proper needs analysis?
100%,
Yeah,
100%. Because now,
yeah,
uh, taking life cover, it's not just I need 2 million life cover, I need 5 million life cover without having properly have done an analysis to say exactly how much. You might be overinsured, or in most cases you find that you are underinsured. So the best thing to do is to do proper calculations of all the debts, of all the liabilities that you have, future liabilities, and all you. And then yeah.
you
Now
know,
remember, with life cover, it actually works the other way. We are looking at the entry where we can say you get into the life cover up to this age. But once you are in there, there's no way the life insurance company can say, we are no longer covering you. As long as you come in while you are still insurable, then they can't say, because the underwriting on your risk, normally they do it at initial stage. Remember, those are two things that especially we need to look at. When we underwrite you at initial stage. Once we are happy with the underwriting at that point, then that information is going to run for the life of that life cover. So
Right.
it's different from underwriting you at claim stage. When we underwrite you at claim stage, it's when we say, come in and in the event of death, and then we now go and look at the fine print and says, did you disclose X and Y debt? But at initial stage, the beauty is at initial stage, you have to do medicals, you have to do all those things. Once they are happy at that stage, then they cover you for the rest of your life. Remember what they are looking at, it's pre-existing conditions. So when you come in without the pre-existing conditions, or if they know those pre-existing, they cover you based on that. So if, for example, I come in at the age of 30 and I have cancer and I disclose that information to them to say, I do have cancer. Then what they can do, they can actually load my premium. Let's say I was supposed to pay 1,500, but because of my condition, then I might pay 2,400, for example, because of my conditions. But the beauty is the insurance company was informed about my condition. What's going to happen after, it's not part of the underwriting that they've done here at this stage. So it goes back to saying, take life cover as when you are still young and healthy. Take as much life cover as you can, and that's going to help you for the rest of your life.
So you are covered until you are 100 years, as long as you pay the premium. It doesn't
That's
matter. You
true.
can be
That's true.
200 years,
But you
as
can't.
long as you keep paying the premium.
That's right. That's right. Remember the biggest worry for insurance companies. They like to say people are living longer, meaning that builds a bigger risk for them in terms of paying out. You see, so it's
Yeah.
very, very important for you to take that life cover as much as you possibly can while you are still young. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's come
Yeah.
on the commercial side of things,
Okay.
because I'm a financial advisor with Farda, and one of the things
Okay.
that I picked up was to introduce the network effect. For instance, is one of the easiest way of getting people to assist you, to introduce people who might be interested in a life cover in a.
Point. I remember the starting point is to speak to the current client that you are sitting with. The
Yeah.
client that you are sitting with should never leave your office without giving you at least five people that could benefit from
Uh-huh.
the services that you gave
Yeah.
to. So that will force you to give excellent advice to whoever you are advising.
Uh-huh.
In the back of your mind, while you are giving advice, it should be in such a way that when this particular client leaves the office, he will obviously go out and recommend you as the best financial advisor that he has ever
Mm.
dealt with, because that's going
Uh-huh.
to be very crucial. So that's the starting point. Every client that you see in your mind, it should be five more clients that are coming. So,
Uh-huh.
and the beauty is, it's if somebody comes to look for life cover, in most cases you'll find that the particular people that he is surrounding himself or herself with are people that are going to look for life cover as well. So yeah, that's the one area that we have. And then the other area, obviously, we in a social media
Yeah.
world, and there's nothing stopping us as financial planners, as you as a financial planner, to go and advertise yourself on social media.
Yeah.
There are beautiful platforms. I think this it's a beautiful niche whereby
Yeah.
you can actually with videos like this, whereby you can actually say, I'm a doctor and I am a financial advisor as well, and I can give brilliant financial advice based on the medical background that I have. It's gonna depend on your sickness and all that, but again, I can cover you with this using social media. I think that will be a brilliant way of looking at network and enhancing your business. Yeah. There are a lot of ways in which we can look
Yeah.
at this. Yeah. But
Yes.
those are the two
Yeah.
that I think are the best. Yeah. Mm.
Okay. No, that's great, Mavesta. No, I think
Mm. Mm.
in our next session, I want us to look at how to approach needs analysis. Maybe, of course, we'll
Okay.
discuss.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think our viewers or listeners in the our next session probably they would benefit from discussing needs analysis to a point where a
Mm.
person can sit down with his pen and paper at home. Because for me, the whole idea is to
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
make it easy for anybody. It should not be a rocket science to figure out how much of life cover you need,
Yeah. Mm.
and then maybe at
Okay.
some point we'll talk about the investment world and so forth. But I think for today we've covered a lot.
That's right.
No, thanks, my
Wonderful.
best.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks for the time. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, for
Thanks.
sure.
Okay then.
No, we'll
Bye.
talk, brother. Lovely, man. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.